I've always relied on the kindness of strangers. There's a lot of good people out there. We've got to remember that. Oh, what a day it's been. What's up, everybody? It's comedian motivational speaker Tanyalee Davis, and I have had the craziest day. If you've been following along, oh my God. So it's Monday, October 27th, and earlier this morning I was in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Yeah, I got myself a hotel near the airport because I had an early flight, and it was close enough where I could scoot from the hotel to the airport, because I've got my mobility scooter, and if you've been to my show, I talk about the metal rack that I designed, and my big merch suitcase goes on the back, and we bungee cord the big merch suitcase around the seat, and it just, with the four wheels, drags behind, and then we put the red suitcase on the top, my smaller suitcase, and we bungee cord the crap out of that, and then my side, I got bags on the sides, good to go. Well, because it's hard for me to get in and out of the scooter, and then if I take the shuttle, of course not wheelchair accessible, I have to take the scooter part. I was like, it's just easier for me to scoot. So I got somebody from the lovely Hampton Inn to come in up to my room, and the young gentleman helped me with my bags, and the problem is we didn't put the bungee cord through the handle of the red suitcase, which was on the top. It was literally just, and you know, early morning, my hearing's not great, it was dark outside, and, you know, we're by a busy road, there's like a highway going by that I have to go over, so, you know, I leave the hotel, go around another hotel, and cross at the lights, and then I'm on a dark path, and go all the way over. It took me about 15 minutes to get to the airport. Pretty good. I was proud of myself. I got there at 6:26. I was like, boom, wanted to get there for 6:30. Then I pull into the WestJet. Turns out it was domestic. But anyway, the WestJet, and I turned, no bag. I'm like, are you kidding me? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So, you know, I'm freaking out. So I go when I retrace my steps, right? And that's, I think, when I went on Facebook Live on the back. On the way back. So I passed these construction guys. There's a group of them, and I was like, listen, this is not your circus, not your monkeys, but this is what happened. And so two guys got in a truck. They drove and then circled back around and looked on the road. Meantime, I scooted back over the overpass, and the guy met me. He's like, I can't find the bag. I'm like, oh. So I go back to the airport. And now I have to scoot to the other side of the terminal because I'm going international. And because I'm flying to Atlanta. So I get to the WestJet area, and there's a gentleman standing there, and I said, here's the situation. And I'm like crying because, you know, I'm just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I said, I don't know whether I should check in or not, right? And he's like, listen, go check in. I'm going to go down to the Lost and Found and see if there's any, because it's going to take me about 15 minutes or whatever. He's like, but don't go through security yet. I'll see what I can do. So his name was Gonzolo, and so I went and checked in, explained to the check-in lady and then the supervisor, and I just kind of hung out, and they're like, well, you're going to have to go through customs soon, and nobody could get a hold of Gonzolo. So I was like, all right. I'm like, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to fly and then call YYC Airport and try to file a claim with a bag that doesn't have any identification. Like, you know, I hadn't checked it in, so it's just, if somebody was even to turn it in, right? It could take it to a hotel. They might not take, you know, anyhow. Oh, so I'm freaking out. And I'm like, okay, that's it. And then I went on Facebook Live and told you guys, you know, I figured if I could get the word out, right? The internet can go like fire on occasions, and I just felt like I needed your help. I know people I think somebody that was in my Facebook Live knew somebody at the Calgary airport, I believe, because once I got on board my flight, you know, and then I told the flight attendant, she's like, how are you doing? And I'm like, bah! And told her what happened, you know, and then I'm just sitting in my seat. I just had taken a picture, and I was like so upset. And then all of a sudden, look at me, there's Gonzolo standing there, and he hands me over, and he's like, here's your baggage tag. And I was like, what? Like, I could not compute. I was like, what? Huh? I was like, did somebody turn it in? And then he like kind of came in, and he's like, well, I went, he goes, I just started walking. And he goes, I walked past the construction guys, and then I went over the overpass, and he goes, I didn't have my coat, and it was like freezing outside, and the guy was just walking around in his uniform, and went out, and then I don't know whether it was the police, I think he said, but it could have been airport security. We're like, what are you doing? And because it was still dark outside, so either police or airport security, I guess, drove along the sidewalk maybe, and they found it. They found the bag. Oh, God. Problem was, I was already on board the flight, right? I was already on board the flight. And so it was like my carry-on bag, basically. And so they had to take all my liquids out, like shampoo, conditioner, and I lost my perfume. But I got my Mohawk shoes. That was the biggest thing, right? I can't lose my shoes. So my flight is 4 hours from Calgary to Atlanta, and my flight is a little delayed. So I arrived at 3:10, and my flight was boarding at 3:38. So I couldn't even wait for an aisle chair. I had to haul ass and get on my scooter. I didn't have time to pee, and if you've been to Atlanta Airport, it's huge. So I went from one terminal to another. I got to my gate, they were already boarding, and she's like, well, we gotta wait for the aisle chair. I was like, I gotta pee, and she's like, don't worry, I'm gonna hold boarding. So I got to pee, I got on board my flight, I was in the aisle, and eventually this older gentleman sat down beside me, and we were delayed leaving Atlanta, and it's only a 45-minute flight. Turns out this gentleman, him and his wife, they were sitting separately, which I didn't realize, and unfortunately it's too hard for me to move. They found out yesterday that their son was in the ICU, and then they found out this morning that they were taking him off life support. He was 42 years old. So I thought I had a bad day. It's crazy how the universe works, you guys. I was proud of myself today. I mean, I know on my live was freaking out, but I didn't have a proper meltdown. Because I was like, it's out of my hands. What am I going to do? I'm like, the universe is either going to bring it back to me or not, right? And it did. Oh my God, I've had so many situations like this where it just worked out. Anyway, here I am, just glad I kept it together. And then I sit next to a man who was going to the hospital, straight from the airport to the hospital to say goodbye to his son. Man, that's a bad day. So we had a really good chat, and we talked about, cherishing life and cherishing the people. And I'm grateful for my friends in Canada. And such a good time. And it's great to see everybody. And there's a lot of good people out there. So listen, WestJet, Gonzolo, who works at the Calgary airport for WestJet, maybe international, I don't know if he does domestic. Amazing. Gonzalo deserves a raise. Yeah, he does. He went above and beyond to help me get my suitcase, and I am so grateful, Gonzalo. And if I make it back to Calgary again, you're getting free tickets to my show, darling. And just thank you very much. I really appreciate your perseverance. And I hope we there's so much negativity in the world these days, but you know what? I've always relied on the kindness of strangers. There's a lot of good people out there. We gotta remember that. There's more good people than there are bad people. We just keep hearing about all the bad people. So just remember that, you guys. Alright. I'm exhausted. I'm hungry. And I'm tired. Oh, same thing. Oh, there you go. Anyway, well, thanks, you guys, for... Sorry to take on an emotional roller coaster, but hey, that's Tiny Adventures with Tanyalee. Never a dull moment. Thanks, you guys. Gonzalo needs a raise.